All right, welcome back this is the 7th video, and what we're going to try to do here is just fine tune it, make sure everything is working. Now, if you recall from the last video, we did quite a bit of work on the game manager, and we got a few things put in there. The biggest thing was that sort of wait for time, so the relaunch, just to give us a little bit of a cushion when we want to relaunch that ball, right? So wait to re-instantiate the ball. And we had it instantiating at a certain location, and that new ball, and we're sort of activated on that ball movement script where it pushed it, it relaunched it from the computer, and then also from the player there. We still have to work on this end game a little bit here, but we're pretty close. So let's take a look and see if it's working and then try to figure out if there's any problems. Now the one thing, I'm just going to check out the game manager here, and you can see we put in the player score and the computer score before, but ball, it says none here. Now you might be tempted to grab this ball down here. You do not want to put the ball that's in the game into here, because once that ball is destroyed, it's not the prefab, it's this instant that is destroyed. So if we need this ball, and we do, to come back again and again and again, we need to make sure that we grab it off the prefabs. Now I'm not 100% sure if you take a look in here. I believe that would be the prefab. Actually, you have to be careful there because you see how there's scene. This is, I think, a new addition. There's scene, so that's grabbing everything that's in here. You definitely do not want the ball from the scene. You want it from your assets, which would be the one that's in your prefabs, okay? So just to be 100% sure, I'm going to grab it from the prefabs and throw it in there. So they look identical, and it's a bit of an issue because then we've had it not being able to re-instantiate. What I'm going to do, I think, I'm trying to remember what we got it going at the start. I will put this ball, we'll just move it into the center, just for the beginning, and see what happens here. I can't quite remember what this is going to do, but we'll see how it goes. I'm going to hit play here, and we'll run this and see. Once it loads it all up. And I don't know why it's taking so long on my computer here. Things were seeming to run a little slow here, so. Okay, that's looking better. Now the ball, oh, there we go. Okay, now, one thing is I did not get the player going, but okay, that's good. So we're getting in pre-score. Now, that was good. The only problem was it was shooting it the wrong way. So we'll take a look at that. This here, not implemented exception. Well, that's just because we passed, right? We went past the score and we ended up with 3 here. And so, the game's ended. We haven't told Unity how to end it yet. So that's fine. And obviously, that player wasn't moving. So let's take a look at that little error. What I noticed was the ball was headed in the wrong direction. It did instantiate in the right location. It was just sort of by the paddle. But like I said, it sort of went back towards it. And we want it to be going the other way. So let's just take a look at the code here. Oops, there we go. What it does say is that if the player was the winner, it should create a new ball, okay, and it instantiates or creates that ball at that vector 10.2f, and that seemed about right because it was towards the computer paddle. Okay, so that seems to be working. And then what it's supposed to do here is new ball dot get component ball movement. So it's supposed to grab the ball movement script and run the relaunch with the computer sort of value, right? So we've got 2 possibilities there. So let's take a look at that ball movement script and make sure that that's right. So right here, and sorry, just jump back. So it said with the computer. So if I go back to ball movement, so it says here's the relaunch, and who's going to be the launcher? It's supposed to be the computer. So if it's the computer, it's supposed to be and then we've got that -1 there. So my guess would be that maybe these are sort of mixed up, right? So the direction here, this -1 is controlling the direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of the -1 on this guy, and I'm going to put it over here. And this happens, right? You just don't know exactly which direction it's going in. Whoops. My number lock was not. Okay, so negative. So there's a negative already. So times -1 times that. So let's take a look and see if this works. Save it up there. Head over to Unity. Like I said, I apologize. My thing seems to be very slow. Okay, there we go. So let's see if I'm ready to play here. Okay, good. So let's see. So that's good, is one. And now it's shooting from here. And we'll block it on this one too. See if I can get 2 points. Good. And I'm going to move it up and make sure that they can score. Now it should be launching from this side, which it did. And 3. And now we get this null reference exception again. So we seem to be working pretty good. What we could do, obviously, is just practice a little bit more. And so we could pluck, turn this back. And with that turned on, what we need to do, right, is make sure that we've got a value in here. So I'm just going to set that to 10. And also, I think I had turned this off at least. Make sure that that is turned on. So let's take a look. And I know there's going to be a little problem, but it should work from the beginning here. And so, good. So it's moving and we're kind of playing a game here. Now I'm going to lose, okay, on purpose. And so there it comes. Now what you'll notice is that the ball, or the paddle, the computer paddle has stopped. And, oh God, if we're going to get that happening, that's okay. So it's bouncing like that. Now the trouble is, why the computer can't find it is because it can't find this missing game object. So we've got to solve this problem. At the start it's fine, because if you remember back in the code, so let's go take a look here. On the computer one, right? Because that's going to find, we set it right at the start, it was going to find the object with the ball. And, that's okay. But the problem is that the game, when the new ball comes in, we need to find that again. So we're going to do a couple little things here on this one, and then also on the game manager. Okay, so what we're going to do is make sure that the computer doesn't get worried if it can't find the ball. Okay, so we're going to come into the update here, and remember that was what set the position, and I'm just going to put in an if here, and I'm going to put a little bracket, and if the ball does not equal null. So that exclamation mark means not, and so in this case not equal. So if it's not null, which means if it is not empty basically, right? If there's nothing there, sort of the opposite. In other words, if there is something, if it knows what the ball is, then chase it, right? And then we're going to put in another one here. So if it's not null, right, do that. If the ball is equal to null, then we'll just do something called return. And basically return means just go back. Do nothing, but just sort of go back. Don't worry about it. Okay, what we're trying to avoid here is a little, the computer sort of warning us, ooh, we can't find the ball. We're basically saying, hey, if you can't find the ball, just be fine with it. If it is there, do this. But now what we need to do is make sure that the computer can find the ball. So I'm going to create a little script, another function here, because I'm going to get it to be called from the game manager. Okay, so I'm going to do a public. So it's going to be accessible, void, and I'll call it find ball. Okay, and so this find ball is actually going to be identical to what we did up here. So I'm just going to copy this, right? Because this is the ball, is equal to GameObject.find GameObject with tag ball. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it right here. And for some reason, it's frozen up. I don't know, my computer's not very happy tonight. Okay. So I'm just going to paste it right in there. There we go. Okay, so this function is a public one that we can use. We obviously need to find the ball. I'm going to save it. I'm going to go back to the game manager. And what we want to do is in the game manager, like I said, we want to find the ball. So we're going to need to find the ball whenever it gets destroyed, okay, or after it gets destroyed. So basically once we've instantiated the ball, so either here or here, we need to run that find ball code, right? Because if it doesn't, then we're gonna have a bit of a problem. So what we'll do, I don't think it really matters where, except for that it needs to be after it's been instantiated. If the ball's not there, we're going to have a problem. So what we're going to do is we're just going to run, so the computer, and I think, oh, we actually haven't created a variable for that. So I'm going to come up to the top before I do this. Let's come right up to the top. And basically we've got the game object. And, yeah, we'll just put it right here, game object. And that is the computer player. Just put that in there. And we need to find that computer player as well. So probably in the start, because the game manager is going to be there, the the computer player is never going to disappear. So I'm going to put it right up here too. So computer player is equal to, and we just have to find that. So game object, oops, dot find, and we'll just find it with the name. So find, and I believe, and this is always just double checking here, that we called it computer paddle. Okay, computer paddle. Let's go out of there. So go back. Computer paddle. And now be able to find it. So now that it's got it, we can run that code, right? Run that function. So I'm going to jump down where I was trying to do it before, right here. So this one would be computer player, right? So dot, we're going to get the script and then run that function. So that would be, just if I make sure I'm writing it in right here, computer.getComponent, right? And then we find that computer script that we called it. So the computer, and I've forgotten the name that we called it. What did we call it there? Computer movement. There we are. So computer movement. And then we're going to run that that function that we made, the find ball function. Okay, and I'm going to do that here as well for if the computer wins it. Whenever we instantiate a ball, we have to do that. So I'm going to copy there and put it. I'll put it in the same spot and save it up. Okay. So let's take a look at this and see. I think we've got like a 90% functioning game here. We might have to jump into another video. I think we will, but that will definitely finish it up. So watching the computer paddle here now. Hit play. So there. So now the computer's following it. No problem. I'm going to lose here again on purpose. There's one. So I relaunched it. It's back. So, but notice the key thing is that the ball has been found again, right? So, whoops. So it says here, right? The ball clone, it's found that ball clone. So we can keep playing, right? I'll lose again, and then I'll be able to relaunch it from my side. It finds the clone. And there's no errors popping up here. Good. And then what we need to do basically at the end, we'll talk a little bit about, a few improvements that we could do. There's some little bits of code that we could work on. We'll just make sure we got the end game working. And yeah, otherwise we've got a pretty functional version of Pong going here. So see you in the very last video, I promise.